You're gonna have to forgive the continuity errors in these videos. I'm doing random jobs at random times, so I don't know whether the cupboard videos are gonna come out before this video. I don't know. Today's video, I'm gonna try and wire up the DC to DC, battery to battery charger. It's a Victron unit, 30 amp charger. So that means I gotta get cables, two cables. It means I gotta get two 16mm cables from the front of the van. The battery is located underneath the passenger seat. Two cables from the front to the back, through conduit, fuse at both ends, or a breaker at both ends. Now, hindsight is a good thing. The conduit I used in this van is 25mm. I would use, if I can, I don't know, if you can get it, use slightly thicker conduit. So this is the conduit that I'm using. And if it was for a small section like this, you could get two 16mm cables through like no problem. But when you've got a long stretch of conduit and it's going up and down, it becomes quite challenging. So there's still plenty of gap in there for this kind of cable, so either a bigger conduit or one that's not ridged like a hose or something, as long as it doesn't squash when when you're going around corners and things. So my little tip is to use a hoover on one end of the conduit, suck a string, pull a string through using the hoover. The string goes through lovely and easy. And then ideally, if the string was strong enough, you'd then tape your cables to it, and you can push cables from one end and pull the string on the other end to pull the cables through. But the string that I've got always snaps, so I used a string, and then I tape a thin cable to that, pull the thin cable through, and then I pull a thicker cable through with that, and then I can tape it to this, so the cables that I'm pulling are a lot stronger than the string. But it is if you've got a long stretch like I have, it's a bit easier with two people, one person pulling and one person pushing. And then hopefully we can get these cables from the front of the van to the back today. Alright, let's go. Step one, place your hoover over one end of the conduit. So then the conduit is down there when I turn the hoover on. Okay, so as that string, that yarn isn't strong enough, so I then tape the yarn to this thin wire. But this wire then is taped to a twin wire, which is much stronger. And then I will eventually tape the thick cables to this, and I can pull this while I push, because I can almost push them all the way through anyway. So it's just to have a bit of encouragement on the other end, rather than me trying to push 4 meters of conduit, Anyway. Let's give this a go. Here we are. Now we've got the twin cable through, which is stronger, obviously, double. Now I can tape my thick cables to that. This is definitely a two-person job. I wonder if my wife will come out and give me a hand. What?
I've got a big rod of tape. Yeah, I've got it.
How much have you got through?
Like half a foot.
That's great, that's great.
Yeah.
Oh, that was good.
Cool.
Thank you, darling.
Right.
Hang on. My little helper. we've got the cables through. That was easier than I thought it was going to be. If anyone knows a real lightweight string that's really tough, it'd be better to use that. But yeah, I had yarn taped to a single cable, taped to a twin piece of cable, taped to my two thick 16mm cables, and yep, one person one end pulling, me pushing the other end. Really happy with that. So I have enough cable here to go to the battery, which is underneath the twin seat, through a fuse. Woohoo! I'm gonna keep this, I think. Now I know that it can be that easy. I think the 16mm cable is easier to push through because it's thicker, it doesn't flex so much. But if you're pushing through a flexible cable, like my solar cables, that was a bit more challenging. But that conduit there isn't just a straight run. It comes to the start of the bed here, then it goes up, then it goes along, and then down again. So pushing it through all that. It's doable, doable. You ordered that thing? Thank you. So I've decided to get a bus bar for the positives. It'll just look a lot neater. So I just got Becca to order that for me. So this is an isolated DC to DC charger. So I have to have a positive and a negative coming from the battery, from the starter battery. On the positive there'll be a fuse in the battery cupboard right next to the battery, and you can have a fuse, but I'm going to have a breaker the other side. Like this. It's not going to focus very clearly. Starter battery, there's a little fuse there. It goes to the control unit, and then this is the leisure battery, and there's a little fuse there. So that is what we have to do. So I have wired in the back here. So those cables there going into the bottom of this DC to DC charger. I will need a cable from here, put a positive and negative from here to the batteries, which I'll probably put a piece of conduit on this wall here, bring it round to the batteries over here, with a fuse or this breaker, which I'm probably going to put there. I've just ordered a bus bar, which is probably going to go here somewhere. So power from the positive is going to go to the bus bar, and then all three of these relays. Battery died. As I was saying, I'm probably going to get I've just ordered a bus bar, so it's probably going to go like here somewhere. So the power from the so I've only got one cable coming off the positive of the battery, which is how you should really do it. So one cable from here to the bus bar, and then the bus bar will go to, there's 4 ports on the bus bar, so, and the bus bar I can have a separate, from the bus bar I can have a separate wire for this relay, that relay, and that relay, which are all doing different things. DC to DC charger, solar charge controller, and this goes to the fuse box for all the power for the rest of the van. Just trying to make sure, make this wiring look neat. Ignore this cable because that is still to be tidied up. But yeah, it's getting there. Getting there, quite smart. Okay, right now I'm finding a way through to the battery compartment, which is in the front, underneath the seats. So yeah, the conduit comes out there. The cables are going to go underneath the driver's seat. I'm just going to try and find a way into the battery compartment, which is in front of the passenger seat. So I now have my cables into the battery compartment. Now the earth, I'm either going to put it onto where this ground earthing point here is, or I can put it onto here. There's a spare port bolt there that I could put a nut to. The positive, I'll bring it along here, and yeah, I'll just stick it onto there, on the positive terminal, and I've got to put an inline fuse to put in there as well. pull the muscle. There. That's the negative. So here's a fuse I'm using. I'm using a 50 amp fuse. But I am going to change that for a 30. I've just ordered some 30 amp fuses, this sort of style. So just got to do this end now onto the battery. There, that's onto that positive terminal. I just tuck them wires around, put the thing back on, jump in the back and do the rest. I just got to do positive and negative now from the B to B, DC to DC, to the batteries. My heavy duty bus bar arrived. It's massive. It is heavy duty. Woohoo! For those haters, or those people that think I don't listen to your suggestions, I got rid of these brass posts. I've just put the bolt straight into the batteries. This is how we're looking at the moment. I've put my bus bar here. This will be covered up with this cover. This is good. I've got another port here which is going to go to here. This is for the DC to DC charger. So basically I've got one 25mm square cable going to this port here, and then all the power was coming off of these. So this one is for the MPPT controller, this one is for the fuse, but the fuses, which is this one, this breaker here, and then this last one will be for the DC to DC charger, which is going to go there. Do love working on electrics. Alright, so I've just wired up the final piece of the DC to DC charger. Final step is to put this little thing here in, which I believe it just connects the circuit. It's just like a, I think it's called a remote input. I don't know, just got to push that into the bottom of the controller, and should be ready to test it out. Alright, so let's have a look at this app. And you see what we can pick up. Come on, where are you? Let's turn off. Ah, the Bluetooth's off, that's why. Bluetooth on. Here we go. This solar charge controller. This is the DC to DC charger. Okay, now the settings, I didn't really know what to do here, so if anyone can help me, not now, if anyone can help me with this. You've got output voltage, I don't know. So this is 12.6. This is when the starter battery gets to 12.6 volts, the DC to DC charger will come on. I should probably put that a bit higher, maybe 13. And 12.4, when the starter battery level gets below 12.4, it cuts out the DC to DC charger. So let's see if it works. I'm going to turn my engine on, make sure we're in neutral, and let's go out of this page. So voltage, there's no output right now. Engine on. So when this gets to 12.6, this should start kicking in. Okay, it's above 12.6 now. How long does it take? Is there a lag? Oh, how long is there? Is there a delay? Hey, here we go. Now we've got 13.9 volts coming out the starter battery, and 13.9 going out of the controller into the batteries. So I believe that is charging. Alright, we're just going to switch the engine. I'm going to switch the engine off, see if it turns off. So this is now dropping. Yes, what did I set it at? 12.4. 12.4 was about 80% of the battery, right? But yeah, I need to change these settings. 12.9. Yeah, so I want to get it to like 12. Maybe if I just did 12.7. 12.7 is a fully charged battery. So we'll just hold here a minute until these levels drop. I can even help that out by just turning on some power. 12.6, 12.5, 12.4. Okay, so this should switch off in a second. Cool, 12.5, let's turn some light. Eventually it will drop by itself. There we go, it's just switched off. So it is switching on and off. I just have to tweak them levels a bit. Make sure that it's not draining the starter battery for too long once the engine's switched off. So yeah, I think I'll put that on to 12.7. I'll do that now actually, I'll show you doing that now. Let's put this on to 12, come on at 12.7. No, let's go 13 and we'll turn off at 12.7. How about that? Just like that. Okie doke. So now it should be a bit better. So we're on, the battery is currently sat at 12.4. So maybe the starter battery is a bit old. So when this gets to 12.7 now, this should come on. 7, there it is. Now there's a slight delay, but it does come on once it gets above 12.7. And please, there we go. So the alternator is actually putting in 14.3 volts into the starter battery right now. The DC-DC charger is putting out 13.9, which is fine. 14 volts is okay for charging. Then let's switch it off, and this should get to 12.7. And if that gets to 12.7, that should then switch off. .8. Come on now. 12.7. Ignore that. And 12.7, so it should turn off any second now. There we go. Working, I think. Let me know if I've done something wrong with the voltage, or let me, give me a recommendation. I don't want people telling me, I should have done it this way. You don't want to do it like that. Just useful, constructive criticism, but be kind. Alright, thank you for watching this video. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you in next week's video. Bye bye.